Something that I think really influences the success of a book is its cover. Think about it. You've probably walked into a bookstore so many times and judged a book purely by its cover. You see a pretty one and you're more willing to pick it up than one that's maybe a little boring and just didn't catch your eye. Well, something that I think is really fun is, I don't know how common of knowledge this is, but there are different book covers for the same book depending on where you are in the world. So for example, a lot of the covers that we have in the US are different than the covers that they have in the UK. And while this can be really fun, I also sometimes kind of question the thought process of these covers that are made, because sometimes they are just so astronomically better in one country than another that I'm like, how did you make it through, you know, the author, the cover artist, the manager, the publisher, the agent, whoever, all these steps, and then somehow made it out into the world? I don't know. But sometimes they're way cooler in other countries. So that's why we're here today. We're just going to be judging UK versus US book covers and having a little competition to see whose are better. Let's get into it. Now, we're going to be starting off with my personal favorite, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So we start with the US cover. This one has the wave. It's a famous, famous painting, and it has the title Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow in a very rainbow, beautiful gradient that I love so much. I just think this cover is perfect, impeccable, beautiful. I love it to death. You look at the UK cover, and this one has the same idea. It still has the wave on it, but it's much smaller. It's not taking up the whole background. You have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow in just white font, but the background is a rainbow gradient, which I also think is really pretty. There is no cover of this book that I don't absolutely adore. However, I feel like when it comes down to it, my favorite one is just the US one. It's the original, the perfect, beautiful first one that I saw. And maybe it's because I have such an emotional tie to it. I don't know, but I just love it. So US has to win for this one. And right off the bat, the US is in the lead, but I will say I have a feeling this might be swaying towards the UK as we go on. I don't know, but we'll see. So moving on to book number 2, we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. Now, starting with the US cover, it is green and blue. It has silhouettes of Marion and Connell on it. It's very simple, very plain. There's nothing wrong with it, but it also doesn't like scream, pick me up and read me. Whereas if we look at the UK cover, gosh, I love this one so much. It is like a salmon background. It says Normal People, Sally Rooney, and it has like these two people intertwined in a sardines can. And I just think it is such a fun cover. I love it so much. I wanted to buy it, but I didn't really particularly care for the book, so I was like, why should I? But it's like that good of a cover to me that I wanted to buy it despite how I feel about the book. So the UK is definitely going to win for this one. However, I will say as far as Sally Rooney goes, this is her only UK cover that would win for me, especially if we look at something like Intermezzo. The US cover is so much cooler with like the chess idea and the silhouettes, whereas the UK one is just like a guy and a dog. Like, I don't know, that one's kind of boring to me, but Normal People, UK wins hands down. Moving on to Emily Henry, I'm going to choose her most recent book just for the ease of it. So we're going to do Great Big Beautiful Life. Starting with the US cover, it is this pretty kind of mosaic background. It's like red and pink and yellow. I think it's kind of like a sunset vibe. And then you have our two main characters sitting on the front. I think it's a very fun cover. I do really love it. But then we look at the UK cover and it's kind of the same idea. It's not as much of a mosaic, but it's very much rainbow gradient in the background, still showing that sunset with our characters still reading on the front, and I am just obsessed with it. I love both covers, but I think always Emily Henry's UK covers win for me. They are just so pretty. I love the way that the colors are used on her UK covers. They always just like catch my eye, and I am obsessed with them, especially Great Big Beautiful Life. So UK wins again. It is in the lead currently. It's going exactly how I thought it would so far. Now we move on to Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and again, I just chose her newest book. So the US cover is very fun. It has, I'm assuming, our main character on it. I still haven't read it, but she is looking up at the sky. You can see a rocket ship going up in her sunglasses, which I think is so cool. And I also love like the use of the different colors on this cover. I love that it's kind of like, I don't know the term for it, but like on the bottom where it's like kind of blue, like fading. I think that's so cool. And I love the way that her hair is kind of blowing out as if it's windy. And then we look at the UK cover, and this one is a lot more plain. This one is simple, it's safe, but it's also almost kind of boring. Not to say that it's not a great cover, but when you have the US one that is like screaming at me, hey, look at me, I'm beautiful, I'm amazing, I have just like so much to me. How am I supposed to choose the UK cover for this one? So for atmosphere, US wins, definitely. Now we move on to a classic. We have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. We start off with the well-known and loved US cover. It's black, it has the Mockingjay on it. It kind of has like these symbols on it that look very dystopian. It fits the vibe very well. Then we move on to the UK cover. Are you for real? Is this a joke? This is an example of how did this cover even make it through so many steps to become the official cover, because this is so boring to me. I remember seeing this cover and just being so let down by it. I don't even understand the color scheme. It's just, there's nothing to it. And it really lets me down. So for this one, the US has to win, not just because it's cooler, but also it's just such a classic. Like, how could you not choose the US? Next, we move on to a favorite of mine, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This one is hard because the US cover is much more plain than the UK, but I love the significance of the US cover because you have 7 stars on the cover that make up a constellation. It's supposed to be like Addie's freckles, and I love that so much. But then the UK cover, there's different ones. There's a blue one, there's a white one, and they're all just so stunning. They're all just so stunning. And like, I know both covers have significance to the story, both are important, but it really just comes down to if you want a more plain cover or a more eye-catching one. And I think I have to choose the UK cover. It is one of my favorite UK covers to exist. Sorry, maybe I'm biased, but I just think it's so pretty. And then we move on to Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This one is a tough one because we have the US cover. She's gorgeous. She has the typewriter keys to start D and R for Divine Rivals. You have these gorgeous flowers. You have these like sprinkling of like, I don't even know what it is. I haven't read the book, but I just know I've always been so in love with this cover. But then you look at the UK cover, and I'm not normally one for people on the cover, but this one is just stunning. The people on it look realistic. Like, I love the artwork of it. I think it's so pretty. I love that they're holding letters. I know enough about this story to understand what this means. This one's almost a tie for me, and now I'm suddenly having to sit here and decide which one I want to choose. So please hold. You know, as much as I freaking love the US cover, I still think I have to choose the UK one for this because, like, just how can you not be just so obsessed with that artwork? So UK wins again. Next up, we have another classic. We just have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone if you're in the UK. And I tried to choose like the original covers for these. I think all in all, Harry Potter covers are very universal. They appeal to adults, kids, people of all ages. But in these, the US cover has Harry flying on his broom. You have him kind of looking to catch the golden snitch. It's very Hogwarts. You have some Easter eggs in the background that go with the story. It's just like screaming what the story is. The UK cover is Harry at platform 9 3/4 waiting for the Hogwarts Express. It's also very Hogwarts, but in a different way. And I think I don't like the art style as much in the UK one, but also again, like the US is just such a classic cover. It's hard to not choose that one. So for this one, I will be choosing the US cover. Moving on, we have Paper Towns by John Green. This one is a fun one to me. Paper Towns, if you've read it, you would know what the significance of the title is. You would know what it means. For the US cover, we have a thumbtack on a map, and that's really all it is. And if you don't know the significance, then maybe it doesn't mean much to you. You're just reading, you know, you can kind of assume Paper Towns, a map, it makes sense in your head. The UK cover. I love this cover. It is green and white, it has a red title, and you have a literal paper town. It's like somebody cut out a paper town, and it's very literal. Maybe it doesn't go with the meaning of the title as well, but I still think this one is just so fun and unique. I feel like you don't see book covers like this very often, so that's my winner. Next up, we have It by Stephen King. I had to throw one of these in because Stephen King is somebody who changes up his covers often. He has his original covers. He, a few years ago, had a collection where all the spines were like different colors and it made a rainbow. So stunning. I would love to own all of those one day. He's now moved on to these like vintage looking covers, which I also love so much. But for this one, we are kind of doing the rainbow spine one for it, as far as the UK goes. And then we're doing just this original like current US cover where it's essentially just Pennywise's smile and his nose on the cover. It's just red, white, and black. It's very simple, very to the point. If you like a minimalistic cover, it's great. But the UK cover is Pennywise staring up out of the sewer looking at people's feet. And I think that just gives such an eerie, creepy vibe. I feel like it really fits what the story is and fits like the feeling you're supposed to get from it. So I love this one. I think the UK cover just is such a winner. Some of his US covers are great, but like for it specifically, UK hands down. Next, we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this one is interesting that I'm even choosing it because I'm not a fan of the book, but I think the difference in covers is interesting. So for the US, I've always assumed that it's like plain seat windows. I don't really know, but I will say this cover has a lot of Easter eggs for the book. It has a lot of the adventures and lives that this person lives, and it's a really fun cover. I feel like that's what made me want to read it in the first place. Wasn't the popularity of it, but just how interesting the cover was. Whereas the UK cover is again just like navy blue, yellow title, and then you have, I'm assuming, the library, and it's colorful. You have a cat, but it's again a very minimalistic cover. We're kind of swapping here because now the UK has the minimalistic cover, but like it's just so plain, and I'm sad that it's missing out on those Easter eggs that the US has. So like, the US wins for this one. Every time the US wins, I'm honestly surprised, but definitely for this one, that's how I feel. Moving on, we have two left. The next one is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and this one you've probably seen a million times on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you find your book content, because it is such a well-loved cover, both the US and UK ones, but especially the UK. But let me talk about these. So the US one is so fairy tale. It's so whimsical. It's so beautiful. It makes me feel like I am like at a ball, like I'm a princess almost is the vibe I get from it. I don't know. It's just like almost like Nutcracker-esque, even though that's not what this book is, but like it just makes me feel magical. And I love that about it. I love the colors. I love the stars or like the sparkles of it. It's stunning. But then you have the UK cover, and I don't know who designed this cover for this series, but they hit it out of the park. They killed the covers for this because the UK covers are so amazing. The use of colors, the use of the art style, the font, everything incredible, stunning, impeccable, no notes. I love it. So I feel like right off the bat, I was pretty clear about which one I was going to choose for this, but I still wanted to talk about it because both are so pretty, but the UK wins for this one. And finally, we have one book left. We have They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This one is a tough one for me because I love both covers. So the first one is another one that you've probably seen everywhere, but we have two people walking together in New York City. You see kind of the background is like a skull, which is very eerie, and the very edge of the cover is a ticking clock. You also see like a Grim Reaper on the ground. It's just so Easter egg. It's so perfect. It fits the story so well. I love it. But then you have the UK one. First of all, I love the color of the cover. The color usage is so great. But then you have two people standing on an hourglass that is slowly losing sand. And that is just so cool. I love it. It fits, again, the story so well because if you don't know, this story is about two people losing time. One of them is gonna die, and it's a pretty tragic story, but both of them, the usage of like showing the time running out to me is just so great. And I'm never able to choose a favorite for this one. However, looking at them right now, I think I'm leaning towards the US because that one is just such a staple. It does such a great job of showing all the different things, and it makes me feel nervous for our main characters, especially as somebody who has read the book. I'm like sitting here like on the edge of my seat feeling anxious for them. So I think the US is going to be our final winner. Now, unfortunately, I have lost count of who has won each one, so I'll have to tally it up and let you know who the winner is, but here it is. So go US or go UK. I clearly love book covers. I think they're just such a fun way to express what a book is about, and getting to sit here and judge them and compare them, so fun. I would love to do this again. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know because I would definitely do a part 2. With that being said, if you disagree with any of these, feel free to fight me in the comments. I feel pretty passionate about all of my answers, but I could be wrong to some people, so let me know. If you want to be friends, all my links are down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.